Alright, so everything I know about this is on the label. It's from Tennessee, so it's probably Dickel. It's a 7-year, non-chill filtered, just shy of 95 proof.
It smells like Dickel. It has
it does.
It has a ton of those mineral notes.
It's 100%
like,
sourced from Dickel.
Those like rocky shale notes, vitamins.
It's such a weird note to get from whiskey, but
Dickel is weird. That's why it's
it.
That's why it's so controversial, because it has those weird like vitamin notes and everything to it. I don't know.
That might be why I don't like their cheap whiskey offerings, like not their rye, but their whiskey, because their cheap ones are like not refined enough. I think.
No.
This.
Those are the ones where like that Plato note in the old Barton, was it Barton or
Bardstown? Old Bardstown.
That one wasn't terrible, but like the cheap.
It didn't translate to the taste.
Yeah, the ones like cheap Dickel, they taste like bad Plato or like bad pickle brine,
or like flavorless gum.
Yeah, that's another good way to put it. But
I'm getting like a bread, not like a young doughy note. I'm getting a bready note.
I get that as well. It's like a white bread note. And then I get like beer yeast on the nose too. That might just be me because like I'm a beer nerd, but
I don't know if I could place it as a beer yeast, but I do get a sort of yeasty note, not in a bad way.
Yeah. To me, this smells like a young, low alcohol, like Belgian Saison a little bit. But that's my beer nerd in me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not gonna get any specifics about beer in this.
Way sweeter than I was expecting.
Well,
it still has those mineral notes throughout and like the vitamin notes, but it has a ton of oakiness to it too. And
I actually kind of like this.
This is really tasty actually. It's really sweet. Like it has like a orange creamsicle to it a little bit. And
I get like the flavor of orange creamsicle. I don't really get a ton of creaminess. It almost reminds me of like the orange vanilla Coke kind of orange.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Like that sort of flavor.
Yeah, because it's not creamy at all. Like some whiskeys you can say are creamy. I wouldn't say this is very creamy, but it has like that orange vanilla.
It has a good bit of oak, but it's not super dry.
No, it's like.
I think they picked a sweet spot in the aging for this.
I think they did. Well, it's a blend too, isn't it?
Right.
I think this was very well blended at that rate then.
And the way I see whiskeys like this is if they have a decimal in the proof, I can trust it a little bit more because it's not just some generic thing where they watered it to a certain proof.
Yeah.
Whenever I see a decimal, I'm like, all right, whatever this is intentional.
Right.
This is how it's meant to taste. They weren't looking at proof. So that gives me that does give me hope for it. And I traded a Rebel pick for this. I think for me personally, maybe going back I wouldn't have just because of how much I like Rebel.
Right.
But not because this is bad. I do like having this, but this is one of those ones that I was trying to get rid of stuff that doesn't fit my flavor profile as much.
Yeah.
And now I accumulated one that it's like halfway there. I do like that orange creamsicle-y kind of note.
And on the bright side, you'll be able to get Rebel picks again because they've been doing so many of them. Find one good spirits.
They did 3 barrels this time around.
Yeah. So you'll be able to get one of those again very soon.
Oh yeah. I want another Ezra pick to be real. If I want spirits, I want Ezra.
That was probably the best bang for your buck whiskey I've had in a while. $35 and it tasted like a Jim Beam product.
That Legion. That's why I like Legion, because that's a good bang for your buck bean product with a lot of peanut. Good choice. If I had a $35 daily sipper, something in that range, it used to be Bowman, I think it'd be Legion now.
Yeah.
And if that Ezra were around all the time, it would be that, hands down.
But this is really good.
Yeah.
And I know that Dickel is hit or miss, but I think that this.
I have zero complaints about this, other than it's not something crazier, but it's all like.
It's well
not gonna be
refined
crazy.
for a Dickel product. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. That's what I like about Dickel is their cheap stuff is obviously meant to make them the money, as well as sourcing to other places for them to do their own thing to it. But the places they source it to want to do something good with it. And this is one of those cases where they source it to someone who knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, because if you blend with it, like it adds a ton of complexity in things. It really does. It's
I was
like,
gonna say the fact that it's this, the only thing is I think that since it's a 7-year, I think this is 100% just source Dickel aged. But I would be interested to see what they end up coming up with their own stuff. I assume they're a newer distillery, or they are more into the blending than they are the distilling.
I think that's the case too. Which a lot of places, that's what you want to do is.
That's what Penelope is.
Yeah.
Although they want to age their stuff.
Yeah, I think that they're going to switch away from MGP after a while. I think they're going to become a distilling producer.
I really hope that more bottles are like that batch 6 cast strength. Because I heard the 7, although the 6 set such a huge bar.
It did.
I heard that the 7 doesn't live up to that, but that the 7 wasn't bad by any means either. But I think we of course probably started with one of the best batches they made, if not the best.
And that's why I don't trust MGP either, because like everybody batches stuff from MGP, and there's so much like variation from MGP stuff.
I can be hit or miss with trusting Rise.
Oh, MGP rye, I can drink without a doubt, any hesitation, because they always have that.
So you're gonna get Tin Cup?
I would try it at this point, knowing it's MGP.
This is
Although
fair.
at that point,
But I also don't want to give valuable money to Tin Cup because their bourbon needs to just not.
Yeah,
Their bourbon is so bad. I don't like talking shit on a whiskey, but it's so bad.
Yeah, and they charge it like pretty hefty price.
They charge like 30 something.
I thought it was 35. Yeah.
I couldn't pay 15. I'd use it as like a mixer, like a cheap mixer.
It's all marketing. They're marketing it as the bonfire whiskey, and they give you a nice little tin cup to go with it to sip out of.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, Wattie Boone Sons. Honestly, this is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best like blind trades you've done.
Yeah.
Especially after what was the craft one you got that we were all like this?
Oh, the Conneaut Lake.
Conneaut Lake. Oh, that was so bad.
Half-town 4 grain. That wasn't necessarily a blind trade. That was like getting rid of a bunch of random opens I knew I hated for a bunch of random ones where I'm like, you know what? I'll either like these or hate these. I really don't care. I just want to try something different.
Yeah. And we ended up hating the tea you got.
I didn't hate the Dogfish Head. It served its purpose pretty well.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but yeah, you did.
Yeah, it served its purpose. I didn't love it. I wouldn't sip it, but it's meant to be a mixer, and you can tell.
Yeah.
And I haven't mixed it yet because I don't fucking mix whatever. But that's like the go-to mixing whiskey I think I have.
But that being said, again, this is probably like the best like unexpected blind that I think we've had.
In terms of a trade, yeah. I mean, we've had random buys that have turned out to be incredible,
yeah.
like Penelope.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I had an idea of how that was going to be, but you saw the lineup we had that in.
Yeah.
When the worst thing on your lineup is a High West store pick, and it was really fucking good, that tells you how good the rest of the lineup was.
That was.
I think the Blackened kind of surprised us too.
Oh, the Blackened was incredible.
Because it was a gimmick, but it was actually really good.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
Do you know anything about Blackened? Blackened is Metallica's whiskey.
Oh.
And this is where the sound nerd in me comes out, because they age it with subwoofers.
No.
Like they play the Metallica music, and it vibrates the cask, and actually like agitates it, lets the whiskey seep deeper into the barrel, breaks off little bits of char. It's a real, and like I think about it, it's a real thing. Like that scientifically makes complete sense.
It does make sense.
And it was a really cool idea. And you know, everyone's like, oh, it's a marketing gimmick, or oh, I don't like it. A lot of people who don't like it because it's aged in black brandy cask.
I mean, it's a marketing.
Because that's a hit or miss thing for people. Is a very, very dark, fruity, citrusy.
Yeah.
Spirit, taking the cask from that and aging American whiskey in it is very bold.
Again, on one hand, yes, it's a gimmick, but it's a gimmick that works. Like, you can call it a gimmick, but it does something different to the whiskey. Like, I mean, Jefferson's Oceans. It's like the same idea as Jefferson's Oceans. Sure, it's a gimmick, but it does do something.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not my cup of tea for the most part. I haven't hated any of the ones I've tried.
It's just not worth the money.
Yeah. I have a problem with that. Yeah.
Do you know what they play?
Huh?
Do they play Metallica?
I heard that if you look up I want to say it's the UPC on the bottle. You know, there's some identified thing on the bottle. You can see exactly what playlist they used to age that cask.
Hell yeah.
And they just play it over and over and over again for years.
I don't think it's aged that long. It falls under kind of like the soup, this whole accelerated aging thing.
Oh,
Because you think that if it's
okay.
agitating it and it's doing all this extra stuff, that's aging it quicker.
I guess, yeah.
Or giving it the effects of aging.
Right.
So
I'm so curious. Is it good? Do you like it?
we liked it.
We enjoyed it.
Considering
I was really surprised.
it wasn't my least favorite in that lineup, and that lineup had like some really good shit.
It did.
Again, when the least favorite was a $50 5-1 against Spirits pick, that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That tells you about the rest of it.
Yeah, I think everybody walked away from that particular one being like surprisingly good, because we had this really like incredible lineup that night of like shit that I brought back from.
I'm gonna find the picture.
Yeah, he has a picture of everything that was in that lineup, and it was an insane, high quality.
Here, let's get back to this just a second.
Yes.
Because we're still recording. So, yeah, this is a worthwhile blind trade, I think. It gives me
agree.
something different, because I don't really have anything close to this. So from that aspect, this was worth it to me.
Yeah.
And I lost a backup Rebel pick.
Which it's solid, but like at the same time, trying something new and different like this, where like the story
I
behind
still
it.
have 3 Rebel picks, although
Yeah.
I'm trading an open one
Yeah.
shortly. But still, I have 2 really solid Rebel picks. That Barrel Nation one that you haven't tried yet either,
That's correct. Yes.
the new one, and the 5-1 Spirits one, which is phenomenal.
Right.
So, yeah, not bad.
Wattie Boone.